Who's the person that is known for his dedication, says hello in the morning and goodbye in the afternoon, and often works long hours? And no, it's not a teacher this time. On average, principals work 60 hours a week, which is significantly more than the 40-hour work week. Research suggests that principals make an average of 18 decisions per hour during the school day. On average, a principal receives around 50 to 100 emails from parents each week, addressing concerns, inquiries, and feedback about their children's education. Principals are lifelong learners who invest their own time and their professional growth all their life. They never stop learning. Today, I'm going to talk to the principal of Trinity Lutheran School in Wahiawa, island of Oahu, in Hawaii, Mr. Kyle Clump. And yes, he is my principal as well. But I'm sure he'll be a great representative of all cool, fun always, in good mood principals of the world. Hello, Mr. Clump. Thank you for accepting my invitation and being my guest today.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited.
My name is EllaQuestionella. Are you nervous?
Well, I don't know. I don't think I'm not really too nervous. I like being interviewed and I like talking to people, so I think this is going to be great.
Well, to loosen up a little,
okay.
I'll tell you a joke about a principal.
Oh, good. This is fun. I love jokes.
Why wasn't the principal wearing his sunglasses on break?
Why?
Because none of his bright students were around.
Good. I love fun. That's very funny.
So, obvious question, is it hard to be a principal?
Well, it is a lot of work. I'm not going to lie. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it. So yeah, being a principal, there's definitely a lot of work. So hard. There are definitely some hard days to the job, but it's super fun and rewarding as well.
Which part's that fun?
Well, the fun part is, you get to make a lot of decisions. So, and then when you make decisions and they're good decisions, it's kind of satisfactory to see everything come to fruition and your plans come out like that. So, yeah.
Wow, that's really nice.
Thanks.
I thought you were going to say scolding kids.
Scolding kids is a part of the job, and that is really not a fun part of the job. But luckily at our school, I hardly ever have to scold any kids, so that's pretty cool.
That's good.
Yeah, it is really good.
So what sparked you to become a principal and not a tax collector, for example?
Well, tax collecting would have been fun, but so I've always been in education. I was a teacher for 20 years, and then my beautiful wife just on a whim just was deciding to get her master's degree, and she asked me if I wanted to get my master's degree, and this is a true story. I said, well, if we could get a master's degree online and we could do it in a year, I'm all in. And then the next day, she got a call from Concordia, Portland saying, we have a program to get your master's in a year and completely online. So we signed up without even really knowing to get our master's degree. So that was step one. So I got my master's in educational leadership, and then fast forward a couple of years, the job here at Trinity became open to become a principal. So I said, hey, I think I'd like to do that. And I stepped into it, and they made me the principal.
It's amazing.
Thanks.
How many cups of coffee do you drink in a day?
You've seen my office, haven't you? Yeah, I drink a lot of coffee. I am a coffee drinker. I would say probably 8 to 10 cups a day. What? Don't judge. Holy moly. It is a lot of coffee. I'm trying to cut back. So
it's okay.
Yeah, but it gets me energized. It keeps me going through the day. So.
Well, drama llama.
Oh boy.
I believe you can write a book on it.
Okay.
Or maybe your fish from your fish tank in your office could write a book too. I suppose they saw and heard a lot over the years.
For sure. Yeah.
How do you deal with it?
Well, every decision that I make, I start by praying first. Before I go into a meeting, we say a quick prayer. And that way I know that the decisions I made, I'm being led by the Spirit. And ultimately, while I make final decisions and have a lot of important meetings and talks with people, I know that my decisions and thoughts are being led by God. So it takes a little bit of the stress off of me to have to make all of those decisions by myself, because I know that God is giving me the insight and the wisdom to make good decisions.
So when you said I don't have to make all the choices by myself, do like other people help you? Like,
Yeah,
how many?
it depends on what the decision is, you know. So when we're passing budgets for the school, we have our our board of trustees that they help to discuss things with that. When we're doing meetings with families, pastors here to help counsel and listen as well. When it has to do with decisions about open houses or marketing, we have our office team, our business manager, and our office manager. They help with that. So there's a number of people that are involved in making a lot of the decisions.
So it's like a family.
It is like a family, yeah.
Very nice. Okay, now let's go way back in time.
How far
You know,
back? Okay.
The good old 1900s.
Oh, boy,
Remember
okay.
the little Mr. Clump?
Yeah, okay. A little later than the early 1900s, but I appreciate the thought. You sound like one of my children.
Thank you. Well, what was his dream when he was young?
Okay, that's funny because in 8th grade we had to do a paper on what you wanted to be when you grow up, and there was 2 things that I wanted to be. I wanted to be a meteorologist or a teacher. Yeah, those were
Wait.
the only 2 thoughts that I ever had when I was a kid, is meteorologist and be a teacher. It's kind of a joke because, with the meteorologist, that's the only job that you can be wrong more than half the time and still keep your job. So
Wait, so
I figured I'd be good at that.
what is meteorology?
You study the weather, you report on the weather.
Oh.
Yeah, so you get to study all the fronts and the weather patterns, and then you get to be on TV and tell people what you think tomorrow's going to look like. In Hawaii, I think it'd be a great job. Partly sunny, chance of rain, a little bit of wind.
I
But,
think maybe a principal would be better.
well, I think
mean-
I think the Lord led me in the right direction for sure.
Every day you get to talk in front of maybe 100 people.
Yeah, quite a few people every day. You are correct. Yes.
I think you went the right way.
Hey, well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
I love you being my principal.
Oh, you're very kind.
Well, how often was little Mr. Klemp in his principal's office?
Okay, well, that's a good question.
Do you remember situation?
I do remember situations. Mr. Clump was in the principal's office not many times, but I was kind of a rascal when I was a kid. I got in plenty of trouble, but fortunately I went to a Lutheran school like this one, and our teachers were pretty loving and caring and forgiving. So rarely was I sent to the principal's office, but I did spend 1 or 2, maybe 3 or 4 times in the office during my younger years, yes.
Well, I'm sorry to bug in, but what happened?
Well, I'll tell you one quick story. I was in 4th grade, and we were playing kickball, and the 2 captains picked teams every day for the teams. And my best friend and I had a little argument that day. And he got to be captain, and I did not. And so he got the first pick. And of course, with the first pick, you always pick your best friend,
Yes.
which was me. Well, he didn't pick me. And do you know who the other captain was? Her name was Allison. It's a girl.
Oh, yeah, I know.
And so do you know who she picked? She picked me. Okay, so now my best friend and my other friend are on the same team, and I'm on Allison's team. And then with the second pick, he picked another one of our guy friends. And you know who Allison picked after me?
Who?
Jill.
Jill.
So now it's my 3 good guy friends on one team, me, Allison, and Jill on the other team. And as the story goes, the teams loaded up, and they were not fair teams.
I'm
so
sorry.
we got to kick first. That was great. And of course, who's going to kick first? Me. So I go and I kick, and well, my best friend, I hit it over the fence. It was a good kick, but my friend caught it, and I was out. And then the 2 girls kicked after me. Guess what? They were out, and they were out. And then we switched sides, and for the rest of the recess, the other team kicked the whole time. We never got them out, and I was pretty frustrated and pretty upset. So recess is over, and it's time to go in. Guess what I do? I don't line up. I don't line up. I'm going to stay on the playground because I'm mad. I want more recess time. This is not fair. I want to play more. So Mr. Zastro was his name. He, by the way, one of my favorite teachers of all time. But today, that day, he was not my favorite, and I was not his favorite student because he said it's time to go in, and I refused to go in. So he grabbed my ear like this, and he had a vice grip, and he grabbed on, and he just pulled, and I got yanked up the stairs, and finally, so we were on the second story of the school, and finally we get to the second story, and I got so mad, and it was starting to hurt obviously, but I got so mad that I flipped around and knocked his arm off of my ear, and Mr. Zastro went flying down the stairs. Good news is Mr. Zastro was not hurt, but bad news is that was one of the days I got sent to the principal's office.
Okay.
Because I threw my teacher down the stairs. But it really hurt, you know? And
Well,
I was asking
yeah,
him to
of
stop,
course.
but it was my fault because I didn't listen to him and he needed to get me inside. So I got in a lot of trouble that day, not from just Mr. Zastro, Mr. Rappy, the school principal, but from Mom and Dad too. It was a bad day to be a little redheaded child in Sheboygan, Wisconsin.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, I'm sure you became better, of course, and became a principal.
Yes, I recovered quickly, but I still have that bit of competitive spirit in me.
I'm sure you see now those kids like that were you.
I see a lot of kids that do make me remember myself when I was in school.
Thank you for that learning story.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
Where did you learn to multitask? A principal needs to be able to change responsibilities constantly and be sane by the end of the day.
Yeah, honestly, I think I'm still learning how to multitask, not trying to work on more than one thing at one time. I start each day by making a list of things I need to do, and I put them on a note card. And so as I get them done, I cross them off and try to move to the next one. Most days, as principal, there are some interruptions that happen during the day that pull my attention away. So while I'm pulled away to do other things, in the back of my head, I'm still thinking about what didn't get done. But I try not to do more than one thing at a time so that I can give my dedicated attention to the main topic that I'm working on.
Yes.
Yeah.
I kind of agree. Like when I'm trying to clean, my sister asks, "Can you please put something on the computer?"
It's like, no, I can't. I'm busy. I get it. Yeah.
Well, when you said that you wanted to be a meteorologist, who is your role model from the history?
Tom Malone was his name, and he was I forget what channel it was, but he did jokes when he did his newscast and his weather. He was really funny. And then he would go out and do live reports, and he would just be standing in the pouring rain, or in wintertime it would be super windy and snowing, and he'd be on camera, but the snow would be blowing in his face that you couldn't even see him. This is Tom Malone reporting live, Channel 4, you know. Now, back to you in the office. I'm freezing.
Is that how you got your jokes?
You know what? I don't know where my jokes came from, but I am a pretty funny guy, you know. I've always enjoyed just having a good sense of humor, and especially with being a teacher. I think kids really enjoy funny teachers, you know. So
of course, yes.
Making the classroom a little bit more fun than just, now we're going to turn to page 25 and learn about history. That's boring.
I'm so glad you make principal life better. Well, not better, funnier. Before we say goodbye, I have one last question for you. Well, if you would be able to go back with the time machine, what would you tell or warn little Mr. Clump about? Like, he's not going to become a meteorologist.
It's a good question. If I could go back in time, I think I would tell a young Mr. Klemp to not be so serious. I think I would tell him to enjoy the ride a little bit more and have a little bit more fun with life and not be so focused and serious, because as you mentioned, I'd like to be funny, but that my humor kind of developed later on. When I was a kid, it was more, I laughed at jokes, but I more so was a serious child and didn't become as funny as I am now.
Well, okay.
Until later on in life. So I think that would be one thing. I think too, another important thing I would tell a younger Mr. Clump is to treat people kindly. Not that I didn't treat people kindly when I was younger, but I definitely had my circle of friends that were a tight group, and if you weren't in our circle, we didn't necessarily treat people meanly, but I think I would tell that person to be more inclusive and nicer to other people. Be a better friend to everyone and not just your, most popular 3 or 4 friends that you had.
I think that's an amazing answer, and probably for our friends, listeners here.
Thank you.
Well, Mr. Klemp, thank you for offering me a spark of your precious principal time today.
Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed this. Thank you.
Me too. I hope some of our listeners will be inspired to become a principal one day. But for me, I'll think about it.
Yeah, well, you let me know if you need any more guidance along the way. I think it's a great profession, and we definitely need more people that are going to become principals, because it's very important to keep our schools running. And the children are the future, so we have to teach them, and we have to have mentors and good teachers and good principals. And I think you might just be a good one day.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
As you can see, being a principal is not so hard or easy. It is a vocation, which, in other words, it is more than a job or career. It is a calling that aligns with his talents, values, and sense of purpose. If you feel this resonate with your powers, I hope in the future we have more principals who love what they do and help little people become better big people.